Pain has a way of stripping you bare. When a breakup tears through your world, when the person you thought would never leave is suddenly gone, you're left staring at yourself in the mirror. No distractions, no illusions, just you and the weight of reality. And in that moment, you face a choice. Let the pain destroy you, or let it forge you. This is the hidden gift of heartbreak, one most men never see. The pain you feel right now isn't just suffering, it's an opportunity. It's a wake-up call. The Stoics understood this deeply. To them, pain was never the enemy. It was the teacher. It was the guide that pushed you toward strength, discipline, and clarity. When you stop resisting the pain, when you sit with it, study it, and use it, it becomes fuel. Fuel to rebuild yourself stronger than you've ever been. Fuel to rise into a man who doesn't need validation, who doesn't chase what broke him, who no longer lives at the mercy of someone else's choices. This video isn't about wallowing, it's about awakening. It's about taking that pain and transmuting it into purpose, discipline, and spiritual clarity. Because the truth is, heartbreak isn't just the end of something, it's the beginning of everything. The beginning of your rise, the beginning of your transformation, the beginning of a life you build for you, not for anyone else. If you're ready to stop seeing your breakup as the worst thing that's ever happened to you and start seeing it as the best, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I thank the pain that built me. Number 1. Why pain is the greatest teacher. Pain is the teacher most men spend their lives running from. They numb it with distractions, bury it under work, drown it in alcohol, or chase temporary validation just to feel whole for a moment. But here's the truth. Pain ignored is wisdom denied, and the man who denies his pain denies his growth. Heartbreak cuts deeper than almost anything else because it forces you to face the truths you've been avoiding. It exposes your patterns, the ways you've abandoned your purpose, the times you've settled, the moments you've given away your power. That sharp ache in your chest, the sleepless nights, the hollow mornings, they're not punishments. They're signals. They're life screaming at you. Wake up. There's more for you than this. The Stoics understood this in a way few people do today. Epictetus said, "Difficulties show what men are." What he meant is that comfort hides your weaknesses, but pain brings them into the light. When your world falls apart, you see yourself clearly, your habits, your choices, your lack of discipline, and you're given an opportunity to change. From a psychological perspective, this is how resilience is born. By leaning into discomfort instead of running from it, you train your mind to adapt. Every time you face the pain instead of numbing it, you're building emotional muscle, strength that no one can take from you. And here's the paradox. The very pain you think will break you is the same pain that will rebuild you. It sharpens you. It humbles you. It forces you to grow into a man you didn't even know you could be. The man who stops fearing pain is the man who becomes untouchable, because nothing, no rejection, no silence, no loss, can shake what he's built within himself. Pain doesn't just happen to you, it happens for you. And when you finally see it that way, you stop running and you start rising. Number 2, the Stoic reframe of loss. Loss feels like destruction, but the Stoics teach us it's really just transformation. What you think you've lost was never truly yours to begin with. People aren't possessions. Love isn't ownership. And clinging to what has left is what keeps you trapped in pain long after the story has ended. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." He understood that everything, every relationship, every moment, every connection is borrowed time. Nothing is permanent, and that's not tragedy, it's reality. When you accept that, loss stops feeling like betrayal and starts feeling like clarity. Psychologically, this reframe is liberating. Instead of obsessing over why she left or what you could have done differently, you see the situation for what it is. A chapter that has closed, and when you stop clinging to a closed door, you free your hands to build something better. The Stoic mindset isn't cold, It doesn't tell you to stop caring. It teaches you to stop depending on people, on validation, on circumstances you can't control. That detachment doesn't kill your capacity for love. It sharpens it. It allows you to give freely without fear, because you understand that your peace isn't tied to anyone's presence. And here's the paradox. When you stop seeing loss as the end, it becomes the beginning. The end of the old you, the one who chased, who clung, who gave his power away, and the beginning of a stronger, wiser man who builds a life that no one can shake. Loss hurts, but it also clears the path. And what you do with that empty space determines the man you become. Number 3, the collapse of illusion. A breakup doesn't just end a relationship, it shatters an illusion. The illusion that you needed her to feel whole. The illusion that your happiness depended on someone else's presence. The illusion that your life had to revolve around another person to have meaning. That collapse hurts. It feels like your world is falling apart. But in reality, it's just the false foundation breaking beneath you. And while that breaking feels like destruction, it's actually liberation, because you can't rebuild until the old structure crumbles. The Stoics embraced this reality. Epictetus taught, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Your pain isn't just about her leaving, it's about the story you told yourself about what her presence meant. When that story collapses, what's left is clarity. You were always enough, but you forgot. Psychologically, this collapse is the beginning of awakening. It strips away the distractions and forces you to confront what's real. Your patterns, your habits, your need for validation, your lack of discipline. It's uncomfortable, but it's also the moment you gain the power to change everything. Most men run from this stage. They jump into distractions, rebound relationships, or numbing habits to avoid sitting with the emptiness. But the man who faces it, who allows the illusion to collapse completely, becomes something rare. A man who no longer builds his identity on someone else's approval. And once you've let that illusion burn, you see the truth. You see that your value never came from being chosen. It came from who you were all along, the man you're now free to finally build, without the weight of pretense or dependency. Number 4, choosing to rise instead of break. Pain will present you with a choice: break under its weight, or rise because of it. Most men break. They drown in bitterness, numb themselves with distractions, or spiral into self-destruction. But the man who chooses to rise, he turns the very thing that was meant to destroy him into the fuel that builds him. The Stoics taught that you don't control what happens, you only control how you respond. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength is in the choice, the quiet, steady decision to take your pain and turn it into discipline, clarity, and power. From a psychological perspective, this choice rewires everything. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a builder, your energy shifts. Every gym session, every disciplined morning, every hour spent sharpening your mind becomes an act of defiance, not against her, but against the weaker version of yourself that would have stayed broken. This is where transformation begins, not in waiting for her regret, not in searching for closure, but in choosing to make your own rise the story, choosing to rebuild for you, not for anyone else. And here's the paradox. The more you rise, the less you even care about the past. Because once you've started building a stronger, more grounded version of yourself, the man who once begged for validation no longer exists. The pain is inevitable, the suffering is optional, the rise, that's a choice, and it's yours to make. Number 5, emotional mastery as a spiritual discipline. Heartbreak will test your emotions in ways you've never felt before. Anger that burns, sadness that crushes, anxiety that keeps you up at night. Most men let those emotions control them. They lash out, they chase, they spiral. But a Stoic man learns to do something different, to master his emotions, and in doing so, master himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Emotional mastery is that strength in action. It's not about pretending you don't feel anything. It's about feeling everything and still choosing calm, still choosing discipline, still choosing purpose. Psychologically, this level of control changes you. Every time you choose silence over reaction, every time you choose focus over chaos, you teach your brain that you are in charge. And the more you practice it, the less power those emotions have over you. You become steady, grounded, untouchable. This is where heartbreak becomes a spiritual discipline, because every moment of pain becomes a test, a chance to prove to yourself that you are no longer ruled by impulse. You learn to observe your feelings instead of obeying them. And that shift builds a kind of power that people can sense, even in your silence. Emotional mastery doesn't numb you, it frees you. It frees you from being controlled by anyone else's actions or opinions. It frees you from the need for validation. It frees you to move through the world with quiet confidence, because you know that whatever happens, you are in control of you. And that level of mastery, that's not just strength, that's liberation. Number 6, the power of withdrawal and solitude. After a breakup, most men run from the silence. They drown themselves in noise, new flings, constant scrolling, nights out, anything to avoid being alone. But solitude, when embraced, is not a punishment. It's the forge where the next version of you is built. The Stoics understood this intimately. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Withdrawal isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's stepping back from the chaos of the world to create space for reflection, for discipline, for clarity. Psychologically, solitude gives your mind a chance to reset. It forces you to sit with your thoughts, your pain, your patterns. It's uncomfortable at first, because growth always is, but that discomfort sharpens you. It teaches you to be self-reliant. It teaches you to generate your own peace instead of seeking it in others. And here's the paradox. The more time you spend alone, the less lonely you feel, because you start to fill that space with purpose. You use the silence to plan, to build, to train, to learn. You begin to see that solitude isn't emptiness, it's power. Withdrawal doesn't mean disappearing forever. It means stepping away long enough to build a foundation so solid that when you do re-emerge, you're not the same man you were. You're calmer, stronger, sharper. A man who no longer fears being alone because he's learned the truth. The man who is at peace in his own company is a man no one can control. Number 7, building the man you were meant to be. The pain you feel right now, it's an invitation to build the man you were always meant to become. Not the man who begged for validation, not the man who lived in reaction to someone else's choices, the man who knows his worth, his mission, and his power. The Stoics believed that adversity was the greatest opportunity for growth. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Every ounce of heartbreak, every restless night, every moment of anger or sadness can either trap you or forge you. The choice is yours. Start with discipline. Build a body you're proud of, not for her, not for anyone, but for you. Sharpen your mind, read, learn, and expand your perspective until your thoughts are your greatest weapon. Lock in your habits, wake up early, move with intention, make your days count." Psychologically, these consistent actions rebuild your identity. You stop seeing yourself as the man who was left behind and start seeing yourself as the man who doesn't wait for anyone to choose him. That shift in self-image is everything. It's what separates the man who stays broken from the man who rises. And here's the truth. The man you're building isn't just stronger physically. He's sharper mentally, calmer emotionally, rooted in a sense of purpose that no one, not her, not anyone, can take away. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about making her regret. This is about creating a version of yourself that you respect so deeply that her opinion, or anyone's opinion, no longer defines you. Pain is the spark. Discipline is the path, and the man you become on that path, he's the man you were always meant to be. Number 8. Aligning with a higher mission. A breakup has a way of clearing the noise, stripping away the distractions, and forcing you to ask a deeper question. What am I here for? That question, painful as it is the doorway to something greater, aligning with a mission that's bigger than any relationship, any rejection, any fleeting validation. The Stoics believed that every man needed a purpose, a higher calling to anchor him when life inevitably shifts. Marcus Aurelius didn't waste his life chasing praise or avoiding criticism. He devoted himself to his duty, to being a good man in a chaotic world. That's why, centuries later, his words still carry power. Psychologically, a higher mission changes everything. It pulls you out of the smallness of heartbreak and into the vastness of possibility. Suddenly, the energy you were wasting on what-ifs and why me gets redirected towards something that actually builds you. Whether it's your career, your health, a creative pursuit, or a cause greater than yourself, your mission becomes the new center of your life. And here's the paradox. When you make your purpose the foundation of your world, you stop chasing, you stop clinging, you stop being at the mercy of anyone else's approval, because your worth is no longer up for negotiation. It's anchored in something untouchable. This doesn't mean you can't love again. It doesn't mean you can't let people in. It means you'll never lose yourself in the process, because you'll know, deep down, that your path is yours, and no one, not her, not rejection, not loss, can take that away. A man aligned with his mission doesn't just survive heartbreak, he transcends it. Number 9. The quiet glow of transformation. There's a moment in every man's rise where the shift becomes undeniable, not because you announce it, not because you post about it, but because it radiates from you. It's in your posture, in your presence, in the calm confidence you carry without trying. That's the quiet glow of transformation. The Stoics taught that you don't need to explain your growth, you only need to embody it. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And that's what happens when you've rebuilt yourself from the inside out. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone. Your life, your energy, your discipline speak for you. Psychologically, this quiet glow is powerful. People notice when a man changes, not because he's loud, but because he's steady. They sense the shift. The man who once chased validation is now grounded in himself. The man who once feared being alone is now at peace in his own company. And here's the beauty. By the time that glow shows, you won't even care who notices, because the transformation isn't for them, it's for you. It's for the man who stared at the ceiling in the dark, wondering if the pain would ever end. It's for the man who decided to rebuild when it would have been easier to stay broken. That glow isn't about revenge. It isn't about making her regret. It's about respect, self-respect. The kind that no one can take away, because it's built on discipline, consistency, and the quiet strength of a man who mastered himself. The glow of transformation isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. Because true power doesn't shout, it radiates. Number 10. Gratitude for the pain. At some point in your rise, something shifts. The anger fades, the sadness quiets, and what's left isn't bitterness, it's gratitude. Gratitude for the pain that broke you open. Gratitude for the loss that forced you to rebuild. Gratitude for the silence that taught you who you really are. This is what the Stoics meant when they said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." The breakup you thought would destroy you became the very thing that awakened you. It stripped away everything that was weak, everything that was dependent, everything that wasn't truly you. And it gave you the chance to rise into the man you were always meant to become. Psychologically, this gratitude is where true healing begins. Because when you stop seeing the pain as something that happened to you and start seeing it as something that happened for you, you release its hold over you. The pain stops being an anchor and starts being fuel. And here's the paradox. The moment you thank the pain, you transcend it. It no longer defines you. It no longer controls you. It simply becomes part of your story, the chapter where you stopped being broken and started becoming unshakable. Gratitude doesn't erase the past, but it transforms how you carry it. And that transformation, that's what makes you powerful. Because the man who can thank his pain is the man who has mastered it. And the man who has mastered his pain is truly free. The breakup didn't destroy you. It woke you up. It stripped away the illusions, the dependency, the weakness, and left you with a choice. Stay broken or rise. And you chose to rise. That's what Stoicism teaches us. That what feels like the end is often the beginning. That the pain that once crushed you becomes the very foundation you stand on. That the man you become after the fire isn't just stronger, he's freer. So keep building. Keep mastering yourself. Keep walking the path with discipline and purpose. Because the life you're building now isn't just proof of your strength. It's proof that the pain didn't win. You did. If you're ready to stop running from your pain and start using it to fuel your rise, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I thank the pain that built me. Thanks for watching Stoic Blessing, where men rise, rebuild, and find freedom through discipline and purpose.